everybody, and welcome back to another vlog. So this one is a little bit different to what you've seen recently, because the last time you saw Atty would have been his awesome 2-star long vlog, and the last time you saw Star would have been his 3-day B90 Bicton vlog. So they've both had quite action-packed, full-on vlogs recently, and as a result they are both having some well-deserved downtime, hacking breaks, etc, etc. But I thought I don't often show that kind of side of things because I deem it to be a bit more like boring and uninteresting, and I'm sure less of you will be interested in that as you are in the exciting event vlogs. But I thought maybe it was time to kind of bring you along to the yard. It's a nice chilled weekend, it's a Saturday morning. I'll show you what I'm doing with them, I'll give you a little bit of an update on what's going on with them, what to expect with them, and what's, what the plan is over the next few weeks and months. And also, since I've been back at uni, I've not really touched on the fact that I'm back in the sort of at the yard at Loughborough, so maybe you guys will see a little bit more of that as well. So I thought something a little bit different, but let's take you along. It's November now, so the eventing season is well and truly behind us, and it's feeling pretty miserable, wet and cold, but we've got to push through. That's what life with horses is all about. So Dan has actually come up this weekend, hence I have a nice little cameraman with me, and I haven't seen him since Bicton, where he stole all of my prizes that I won. So I've actually just had my very first sort of little look inside, and NAF have been very, very generous with some of their sort of prizes. We've got like some recovery, I don't know what you call this, serum in there, which is this is interesting. I'm excited to use this next event season and sort of see like how it works. And then there's also like various sort of grooming sprays, plaiting sprays. So watch out 2023 event season. We're going to be looking super smart. But anyway, for now, let's get into the boys. Someone's got very fluffy and very muddy since you've last seen him on the vlogs. He's been enjoying just some sort of hacking life. He's gone a bit feral. And the other man of the hour. Oh, someone's also very muddy. Hello! How are you? How are you? Okay, so we're going to start with a slightly more feral looking Star. I have to admit, both the horses have basically gone, oh, Flo's vlogging today, and then proceeded to roll their faces in mud overnight. So they're both looking a little bit feral. Last time you saw Star was obviously at Bicton, and we're very, very pleased with how he got on. And he has had 2 weeks now of just hacking 3 times a week, just to chill down, slow down a little bit. He was really, really good at Bicton. But unlike Atty, who we'll get on to in a minute, he doesn't need quite the sort of same length of hacking break because his season was a lot shorter. He didn't start until July. Obviously, he spent like the early part of this year rehabbing, so he's actually been in like quite a low intensity sort of work environment for a lot of this year. But I still think that the sort of 2 weeks post big event, is definitely fair hacking. And both my boys will have a complete winter break over Christmas. It just makes more sense to do it then because obviously I go home from uni, I have exams in January, so I can sort of focus on all that kind of stuff, and they can have a little bit more of a chilled time. But for today, Star is going to go back in the school for the first time since Bicton, and I don't have a death wish, so I'm going to just pop him on the lunge. That's the other place where he kind of varies massively from Atty. Atty you can kind of you could leave him for a month if you wanted and get back on him in the school, and he'd be totally normal, you wouldn't know, he'd had a day off. Star is quite sensitive to change like that, so when bringing him back from a little bit of a hacking break, it just makes a lot of sense to pop on the lunge just once or twice, just to kind of, re-familiarise him with everything. We'll see you in the arena potentially. I won't show you too much lunging, but I will chat to you a little bit more about what his plans are for the longer term winter season. Right, I figured you're probably not that interested in watching Star go round and round and round in circles on the lunge for a little bit, but what I would quickly do before we start lunging is tell you a little bit more about his winter plan more broadly. So obviously you heard that he's going to have a few weeks off in December and that he's been on a bit of a hacking break. Today marks the start of him getting back in the school, and I'm going to target some unaffiliated dressage with him over the winter. Obviously, if you watched the Bicton vlog, you know that I was really, really pleased with our test, even if the mark didn't quite reflect how well I thought he went. But the main thing is we want to achieve that consistently. I don't want that question mark in my head when I'm going down the centre line at the start of next season. Is he going to behave or isn't he? Is he going to tense up or isn't he? No, I'm way more interested in having like the continuity, and then we can work on nitpicking the little areas that perhaps the dressage judges didn't like so much. I've read through all my comments from the test at Bicton. Some obvious places to work on, some things are a little bit more confusing, but yeah, that is the plan for him. It's really going to be a big sort of winter dressage campaign. Alongside that, I want to get more comfortable at show jumping him a little bit bigger, because 90 is obviously well within our comfort zone, but I want to be a more confident rider on him when show jumping at like 105, 110 to set the scene, because hopefully he'll go back up to novice and maybe, if I'm feeling brave, maybe a 2-star next year. So that's his sort of plan. I'm going to lunge him, maybe show you a little bit, and then we'll move on to the main man. I keep doing that funny thing. Oh, I'm very pleased with Star. He was a very good boy, very relaxed for his first time back in school. I actually feel like I could have got on him and braved it, but I'm glad I didn't. I've seen that firsthand, and I'll get on him in the school probably tomorrow or the next day. It's main man time! So, you've not seen him for even longer on the channel. He has had 4.5, almost 5 weeks now of hacking break, and as you can see, he's still very much in the hacking break mode. He's been in the arena once in that time, just so I could gauge where he was, how he felt post Osberton, walk, trot, canter, just for 20 minutes or so. Pleased to report he's all feeling good. He's seen the physio, he's got the dentist booked in. I just think it's important to kind of tick those things off before he comes back into full work. Doing something like a 2-star long is quite like taxing and demanding on any horse, so I want to do the sort of recovery work right, if that makes sense. But today we're going to take him in the arena. There are some poles set out, so I might do some poles with him, and we're sort of prepping, building him back up into a bit of full work. He'll do the same thing as Star. He will have 2-3 weeks off completely in December, but for now we're going to get cracking on some winter work, and for him it's dressage again. So I've got a big dressage boot camp ahead of me this winter, as well as a bit of show jumping practice. I mean, his show jumping has got a lot better throughout this season to only have 1 pole at both his 2-stars. Chuffed with, we have had a bit of 4-fault-itis this season, so if we can try and stamp that out over the winter, I'll be a happy bunny. So this is his first time back in the school post physio, and some of the physio's comments were about him having a little bit of a tight pole, which I had kind of identified, so I was glad that they kind of pointed that out. I wouldn't have known it was the pole per se, but I thought something in his neck felt a little bit tight. So it's just interesting to get a feel for how that's kind of changed the way he feels in my hands, and I think I'll get more of an idea when I move him up to trot in a minute. He feels so much looser over his back. Right, I thought it was time for a little bit of a check-in and a little bit of a catch-up on voiceover while some of these clips roll. So the first thing I will say is, as I pointed out, this was my first ride post-physio on him, and I did not realise how different he had started to feel in my hands until I got on him on this particular day, and he felt totally different, a lot more sort of adaptable, amenable. And I think actually, in all fairness, in some of these clips that results with him looking ever so slightly overbent, or perhaps the pole not being the highest point. So actually, this isn't the head carriage that I'm working towards, and now I've watched back this footage, I know to sort of react when he feels a bit like that. But it was really nice to get on him and have him in my hands again. I really hadn't kind of like noticed that had started to slip, but I'm thinking post Osberton, just a little bit tight through the neck, which isn't really surprising. And then we've got some fun little clips of me going over poles. One thing that I've historically struggled with Atty over winter is keeping things interesting, because he just gets on with the job. He's such a good boy, he behaves, and as a result, I think just a lot of the flat work, if we just go in the school constantly, he can find it a bit boring. So pole work is something I've never done enough of with any of mine, and I'm determined to use that this winter to kind of, lighten up schooling sessions, make them a little bit different. And I think he enjoyed it. I liked this exercise particularly because he had to really think about what he was doing with his feet. So I had good fun doing a few of these exercises that were set up in school. I didn't set them up myself because I just don't trust myself setting up pole exercises. So I was quite glad that a few were set up, which kind of pushed me. Otherwise I'd have just done normal trotting poles, because that's all that I'm sort of confident setting up. There you go! You've seen Atty back in action. I certainly think there's a long way to go before we are ready to start really campaigning for our sort of winter improvements, but it's nice to have him back and he feels good. You can't really ask for any more than that. So this whole vlog has been obviously useful to kind of keep you in the loop, but it's also served a bit of a purpose as to set out what my winter looks like. Hopefully you guys have a little bit more of an idea, and now it's kind of over to you. What do you want to see? I don't want to just put vlogs out for the sake of putting vlogs out, if that makes sense. I know that my eventing vlogs are always going to be the most popular ones. I enjoy making and editing them the most as well. But I would like to keep things like going over winter, and I want to know what you want to see. So I've kind of explained that there's a few different things that I'm doing. I'm obviously juggling uni and horses, so would you like to see any more uni, horses, sort of weeks, days in the life? I'm doing a bit of dressage boot camp, so how much of that do you want to see? Do you just want to see the dressage competitions? Do you want to see dressage lessons as well? And obviously the show jumping and all of that I would probably vlog anyway. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, because I know that winter is less interesting for you guys at home. It's less interesting for me as well. Get me back to the eventing season already, please. But we are where we are. So let me know in the comments below. I might also pop some polls up on my Instagram, which is @FlowCarterEventing. If you're not already following me over there, make sure you are. And hopefully we can just kind of decide together what this winter looks like for the old YouTube channel. Anyway, I will stop waffling and I will see you soon. Maybe with his first jump back, which is going to be in a week or two. And I'm also keen to get Dan on board. So, you know, I would definitely have to vlog that for the entertainment value. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.